Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum to everyone. I am Zobia Akram from Divisional Public School and Intercollege Sahiwal. I will teach you Biology, Class 10th, Chapter number 12, Objectives. By the end of this lesson, students will be able to understand the gonades, testes, ovaries, feedback mechanism, and disorders of nervous system. So dear students, in your previous class you have studied about the endocrine system. As you know that it is a chemical messenger system comprising feedback loops of the hormones released by internal glands of an organism directly into the circulatory system, regulating distant target organs. Hormone. A hormone is a specific messenger molecule synthesized and secreted by an endocrine glands. For example, pituitary gland, adrenal gland, and gonades. So dear students, in your previous class you have studied about pituitary glands, adrenal glands, and pancreas. So today we will discuss the gonades. Gonades. Dear students, gonades, male and female reproductive organs are called gonades. Actually students, gonades are the additional types of glands. Their sex organs include male testes and female ovaries. So dear students, there are two types of gonades which are testes and ovaries. Now we will discuss the function of testes and ovaries one by one. First of all, we will discuss testes functions. The male reproductive organs are called testes. Functions: gamete formation, hormone formation. Actually students, testes produces gametes like sperms and they produce testosterone, which is a hormone. Testosterone, it is responsible for the development of male secondary characters like growth of hairs on face, hoarseness of voice. So these are the function of testosterone. Testosterone is a hormone which is secreted by testes in males. The next one, ovaries. Female reproductive organs are called ovaries. Their functions: gamete formation, secrete hormones. So dear students, ovaries produces gametes like egg and they produces hormones which are estrogen and progesterone. Estrogen and progesterone develop female secondary characters like development of breast. So dear students, ovaries secrete estrogen and progesterone which are responsible for the development of female secondary characters such as development of breast. So these are the function of these hormones which are secreted by ovaries. So dear students, in this way we have completed our first objective, which is gonades. Now we will discuss our second objective, which is feedback mechanism. Feedback mechanism. First of all, we will see the definition. It means the regulation of a process by the output of the same process. Actually students, endocrine glands don't secrete their hormones at a constant rate. The rate varies with the needs of the body. Like many other functions in the body, secretion of hormones is also regulated by a feedback mechanism. So feedback mechanism is the regulation of a process by the output of same process. Feedback mechanism are of two types, which are negative feedback mechanism and positive feedback mechanism. Now we will discuss these types of feedback mechanism one by one with examples. First of all, we will see negative feedback mechanism. The output of a process decreases or inhibits a process. Actually, students, the negative feedback loop is a reaction that causes a decrease in the function. It occurs in a response to some kind of stimulus. This mechanism works to return a condition towards its normal value. Now we will discuss the example of negative feedback mechanism. So dear student, as you can see, this is the liver, pancreas. Liver and pancreas are most important organs of our body, and they produces different types of substances like insulin produces by pancreas, glucose and glucagon produced by liver. So students, when blood glucose concentration rises, pancreas secretes insulin. It decreases the blood glucose concentration. Decline in the blood glucose concentration to a normal set point inhibits the secretion of insulin. Similarly, when blood glucose concentration drops below normal, pancreas secreted glucagon. It rises the blood glucose concentration. In this case, rise in the blood glucose concentration to a normal set point inhibits the secretion of glucagon. In other words, the blood glucose concentration output controls a process, the secretion of insulin and glucagon. So dear student, it is an example of negative feedback mechanism. Now we will discuss the positive feedback mechanism. The positive feedback mechanism. In positive feedback mechanism, the changes resulting from a process increase the rate of process. So dear students, it is a process in which the end product of an action cause more of that action to occur in a feedback loop. Actually, this process amplifies the original reaction. Let's see the example of positive feedback mechanism. So dear students, as you can see, hypothalamus release a signal towards the pituitary gland. This pituitary gland produces two types of hormones, which are prolactin and oxytocin. Prolactin produces milk. Oxytocin release milk. So dear students, in this example, suckling action of infant stimulates the production of a hormone in mother. This hormone works for the production of a milk. More suckling leads to the more hormone, which in return leads to the more milk production. So this is example of positive feedback mechanism. So dear students, in this way we have completed our 2 days second objective. Now we will discuss disorders of nervous system. Any abnormality in the nervous system or related to a nervous system is called disorder of nervous system. So there are two types of disorders of nervous system, which are vascular disorder and functional disorder. So dear student, vascular disorders are due to any disturbance in the blood supply to the nervous system, for example, paralysis. Functional disorders due to disturbance in nerve impulse generation and transmission, for example, epilepsy. Now we will discuss these diseases one by one. First of all, we will discuss paralysis. So dear students, paralysis is a loss of muscle function in the part of body. It happens when something goes wrong with the way messages pass between brain and muscle. Symptom: it is a complete loss of a function by one or more muscle groups. Causes: damage to a central nervous system, brain or spinal cord, any type of stroke, blood clotting, and poliovirus. So dear students, it is most often caused by the damage to the central nervous system, brain and spinal cord. The damage may be due to the stroke, rupture in the blood vessel of a brain and or spinal cord, blood clotting in these blood vessels, or poison produced by poliovirus. So dear students, the patient may have weak paralysis throughout his or her body or have paralysis in one side of a body. There may also be paralysis in lower limbs or in all four limbs. The next, now we will discuss epilepsy. There is abnormal or excessive discharge of nerve impulses in brain. So dear students, actually epilepsy is a central nervous system disorder in which brain activity becomes abnormal, causing seizures or periods of unusual behavior and sensations, or unprovoked seizures in patient can be seen. Causes: genetic and developmental causes, brain tumors, head trauma, and infection. Actually students, in younger people, epilepsy may be due to the genetic or developmental causes. In people over age 40 years, brain tumors are more likely to cause epilepsy. Head trauma and central nervous system infections may cause epilepsy at any age. Treatment: medicine can control seizures. Actually students, there is no known cure of epilepsy, but medicine can control this disease. So dear students, in this way we have completed our today's topic. Let's take a short review of our today's lesson. Today we have studied about Gonades, feedback mechanism, disorders of nervous system. Gonades. Male and female reproductive organs are called gonades. There are two types of gonades, which are testes and ovaries. Testes produces a hormone which is called testosterone, which is responsible for the development of male secondary characters such as growth of hairs on face, while the ovaries produces two types of hormone, which are estrogen and progesterone, which are responsible for the development of female secondary characters such as development of breast. And the second one, feedback mechanism. It means the regulation of a process by the output of the same process. There are two types of feedback mechanism: positive feedback mechanism and negative feedback mechanism. We have studied it with examples. And the last one, disorders of a nervous system. Disorders for nervous system are of two types: vascular disorders and functional disorders. Vascular disorders are due to any disturbance in the blood supply to a nervous system, for example, paralysis. Functional disorders due to disturbance in the nerve impulse generation and transmission, for example, epilepsy. Paralysis. It is a complete loss of function by one or more muscle groups. It is caused by damage to the central nervous system, brain and spinal cord, any type of stroke, blood clotting, poison produced by a poliovirus. And the next, epilepsy. There is abnormal and excessive discharge of nerve impulse in brain, unprovoked seizures in patient, causes, genetic and developmental causes, brain tumors, head trauma and infection can cause epilepsy. So dear students, there are some MCQs which are related to our today's topic. Let's see these MCQs. First one. Which hormone is produced by testis? Option A, estrogen. Option B, progesterone. Option C, testosterone. And option D, none of these. The correct option C, testosterone is produced by testis. MCQ number 2. Abnormal discharge of nerve impulse in option A, paralysis. Option B, epilepsy. Option C, both A and B. And option D, nervous disorder. So dear student, we have studied. The correct answer is option B, epilepsy. The next one, epilepsy is caused by option A, head trauma. Option B, brain tumor. Option C, infection. And option D, all of these. The correct answer is all of these. And the last one, the output of a process decreases or inhibits the process. Option A, positive feedback mechanism. Option B, negative feedback mechanism. Option C, both A and B. And option D, paralysis. The correct answer is option B, negative feedback mechanism. So dear students, there are some questions. Give the short answers of following question. Question number 1. What are the functions of testosterone? So we have studied that testosterone is responsible for the development of male secondary characteristics such as growth of hair on face. Question number 2. What is feedback mechanism? So dear student, we have studied that feedback mechanism means the regulation of a process by the output of the same process. And the next one, what are the symptoms of epilepsy? We have studied the topic of epilepsy. And the last one, what is paralysis? Paralysis is the loss of muscle function in a part of body. And the next one, extensive question. Define and explain feedback mechanism. So dear students, I hope today's lesson will help you to understand Gonades, feedback mechanism and disorders of nervous system. Thank you.